The Packers tie the Dallas Cowboys and sputter into the bye week. We have a long time to think about this one. We give you our initial reactions after a result nobody saw coming on today's episode.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm
All right, everybody, welcome back into another episode of Sounds Gouda. My name is Jordan Olson, and my co-host and best friend over here is Rob Relf, and we want to thank any new and returning listeners. As always, we're excited to be talking Packers ball with you, even after a disappointing tie and kind of a sputtering feeling going into the bye week. But do remember, we have new episodes every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Right now, we are doing a promo. We're giving away a Sounds Gouda hat every 50 new subscribers we get on YouTube. We're working our way towards 700. So if you want to get in on that next raffle, make sure to become a public subscriber if you are not. So we have also unlocked super chat, super stickers, and super thanks on our YouTube channel. So that's just another way that you can support us, interact with us, and we definitely appreciate that. So just talking a little bit about flow now that we're entering the bye week, doing our Monday recap today. We'll have some special episodes on Wednesday and Saturday this week during the bye week. Maybe have some guests on. We won't have a Monday episode or a Monday recap next week because we won't have a game to talk about. And then we'll ramp kind of back up to the Saturday preview of the Bengals game coming out of that bye. But yeah, let's jump into it. A lot of people, I'm sure, were up late. I was up late. My mind was spinning. I don't think I fell asleep until after 2 a.m. By the time I digested it, came down from the kind of high and emotions from the game. But yeah, Rob, how are you feeling after last night's performance?
Yeah, well, it's man, what a time it was to be 2-0. You know what I mean? It's just the NFL is such a week by week, and there was a lot of good in this game. And I'm sure we'll maybe we want to hit on that first. Hey, you know what? Like, give the Cowboys a lot of credit too. You know, they came with a phenomenal game plan, at least on offense. Our defense had looked quite unstoppable. Now, whether Dallas had the perfect plan of attack, which I thought that they did, or whether the defense was just plain, soft, I'm sure there are some questions that we can definitely get into. Man, the stress in this game felt like a playoff game, man. I couldn't believe just the stress of like, okay, the defense just needed to get one stop or, whatever it was. And it was, if you like points, 40-40 tie, first in NFL history for a scoregami. Yay. But it would have been a whole lot nicer to to get out of there with a win. I mean, my goodness, man. Yeah, there's a lot to take away from this game. But it was definitely entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, scoregami, my rear. I mean, the whole thing just kind of feels like the old adage, kissing your sister. I don't have a sister, so I guess I can say that, and it's not that weird, but I mean, it feels gross. There is a lot of positive, though. It's just, I think it's a double whammy coming off of the disappointing Browns loss, right? Like, you could probably digest this game a little bit more, kind of take it for what it is. Okay, 2 offensive outpourings, like great game by Dak, great game by Jordan. If the Browns game hadn't happened, if you would have just finished business versus the Browns and then you're 3-0-1, you probably don't feel the same way right now. So I apologize, folks. I am recording in a different environment, visiting the in-laws, a little different place for me. So if the sound or audio visual is a little off, I'm doing my best for you here today. But yeah, let's, you said you wanted to talk with the positive stuff. So let's do that, Rob. I like the glass half full approach this morning because we could certainly go on a tailspin. But what did you see that you really liked? Give you some hope going to build off of some of those things into the bye week?
Yeah, I mean, the offensive performance just in general, had a much better game against I don't want to say reeling. I mean, the Dallas defense definitely they came to play today too, but definitely not the Browns defense. I'll say that much. But Jordan Love 31 of 43 for 337 yards, 3 TDs, 0 INTs, and 118.1 passer rating. He was really good and added, additional 3 carries for 28 rushing yards. Pretty clutch there in a lot of critical moments when we needed scores. Each time Dallas scored, we had come right back, and Love had led them right down the field. It was almost, I don't want to say it was a legacy game, but it was. He had a absolutely electric game, and the stats would back that up. Josh Jacobs, I was calling for this to be a Josh Jacobs game. I think it took a little bit to get that going, but 157 total yards, 86 rushing, 71 receiving. Led the team in receiving yards, 2 TDs, and then also too, Emmanuel Wilson was very effective in this game as well, leaving him in there for a couple of series, and I thought he had some really, really good catches and really good runs. I think, Jordan, again, your Romeo Dobbs, leading this team and going to be this team's wide receiver 1. You are absolutely check, check, check. I will admit that so far, even though Golden had a couple of really good catches in this game. But Dobbs, 6 catches, 58 yards, and 3 TDs. Multiple clutch third down conversions for Romeo Dobbs. He was consistently getting open. Jordan Love was consistently targeting him. He is this team's wide receiver 1 and Jordan Love's security blanket. And you were correct from everything you were saying before the season started. But just really, really good. And against that zone coverage for the Dallas Cowboys. And then the offensive line, I thought it took a little bit for them to settle in, for sure. I thought they did, specifically in that second half when they're able to really lean on that run game, get Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson going. Did some really, really good stuff there too. So I'm going to stop there because I want you to allude on anything I might have missed or anything you want to continue talking about with that.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on a lot of the big offensive performances for sure. And, with Romeo, I do believe that he'll continue to do that. I do think that Kraft is still the leading target getter on this team, and Kraft had some great effort as well. Kraft had at least one big play erased by a penalty as well. We'll get into that stuff, but Tucker Kraft continues to perform. But Quay Walker, if you weren't keeping track of him, I mean, he was flying all over the place on the defensive side of the ball. You can tell that he's playing confident. He's playing without overthinking things right now. And his play is really showing up on the defensive side of the ball. And then, we obviously gave up some big receptions to George Pickens and stuff. However, I think KEYSHAWN NIXON was pretty locked down again, and he had 2 more pass breakups this game. So, KEYSHAWN's been really, really solid as our CB1. That's what he wants to call himself. I can't disagree with him at this point in time. But, after that, we can start to kind of discuss where individual efforts go in this game. Once the PFF grades come out, it'll be really interesting to see who's given credit for pressures, kind of how they felt about the overall performance. Yeah. Oh, let's see here. I wanna stay in the positive. I just have so many kind of negative things. What it's not really a negative thing, but you talked about Matthew Golden. I kind of think that on that early route where him and Wicks ran the double verts, I think that Golden kind of stole that ball from Wicks, because I think it was really intended for him. I think on that route concept, they're supposed to run equal streaks down the field. And you can see that Golden, as soon as the ball went up, just started to track over that. I don't know if he didn't have awareness that Wicks was going to be there, but you can see Wicks kind of turn around and be like, all right, well, he's going up for it, and I'm not going to get in his way. And luckily, Golden came down with a great catch there. He was determined to make his stamp on this game.
Yeah, and he had that 4th and 6 conversion too in overtime. He's got good hands, man. Mm-hmm. Now, whether he was too close on that route, I'm sure that's probably accurate, but he caught the ball, so that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm. My guess on that concept is Wicks is supposed to stay on the outside, and at some point in time, whether that's an equal streak down the field or if that's supposed to be turned into more of like a post route, where some point in time you break inside the safety and you're trying to drag that other safety or drag the single. I can't remember if it was single coverage or cover 2 back there. But he's supposed to drag somebody further away from the play to create space for Wicks there. I'd have to imagine that was the concept, but I'm not going to argue with the outcome one way or another. I will say kind of transitioning into special teams, and we'll certainly talk plenty about this team's defensive performance. Golden's a great place to start. They subbed Golden out on punt returns after I think what was a couple very questionable punt returns. I really don't think he had any business trying to stick his excellent hands up and grab that hot one that bounced right at him after that like awkward hop. That had like muff written all over it, and it was moving towards the Packers end zone, and I really had a hard time seeing him grab that one. But yeah, he clearly is eager and ambitious to make his impact. And I think he kind of just needs to slow down and let things come to him. Otherwise, we'll definitely potentially see some mistakes happen. So he's a rookie, and we'll get that figured out. But I did feel more comfortable after Romeo was back there kind of fielding punts, just a little bit more confident in that right now. Even though Romeo might not be the playmaker with the ball in his hands that Golden can be. But oof, second blocked kick in 2 weeks. And honestly, that is the difference in this game. It was a 3-point swing. And, you can argue that Dallas would have never gotten the momentum had that play never happened. We would have been up 14-0. It felt a lot like the route that we were predicting it was going to be before that play happened. Then that and a strip sack, and Dallas is in this game.
I mean, just let me just, because I think that's, Rich Bisaccia, I feel like was a little bit on the hot seat before this game, and now he's extra on the hot seat, and rightfully so, man. Cost you a win against the Browns, and then it cost a loss, but a tie, which doesn't know whether a win or a loss, but it feels like a loss. You know what I mean? It just when enough, cost you here in two big games, right? Like you were alluding to. This wouldn't have given the Cowboys probably momentum. Who knows, how the rest of the game would have played off. Obviously, from how I understood it, is Luke Musgrave, which if he was already having a hard time seeing the field in the first place for his blocking, this certainly does not help. You're supposed to take the inside guy first and let the outside guy kind of wrap around because he has kind of a longer route, right? Like, I know that, like, watching, so how does Luke Musgrave not know that? You know what I mean? Like, is it the details? Is it the coaching? Is it just not paying attention? I don't know what it is. But not only that, too, but like, okay, I get it. Turpin's a really, really good specialist for them. But, after Packers did take a lead, they allow him to do a 47-yard return, set up Dallas at midfield. Cowboys scored a touchdown 3 plays later on that one. Again, special teams align for that to come through. And then you have your punt return chaos. There's no Jaden Reed. I get it. Matthew Golden has got absolutely destroyed. Romeo Dobbs then used. There hasn't been a consistent returner. So, like, okay, where's Bo Melton in this too? Isn't that why he's on the team as well? Like, I don't know. Do we need to sign a punt returner, Jordan? I just think Rich Bisaccia is under siege and under fire, and I'm not sure directly if this is coming from him, but it needs to stop because it has resulted in a loss and now a tie, which basically feels like a loss. Like, how? I don't get it. Like, if you're in the hot seat, you got this money to get Micah Parsons, you can't have this type of shit happening. I'm sorry. It just cannot happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's a really tough spot to be in because I know that Rich is a really respected guy in that locker room, not only from the coaching staff, but the players. I think any locker room that he's been a part of, there's been a lot of respect for Rich. Players gravitate towards him. It's a really tough spot. I think regardless of the outcome of what happens this season, they really need to consider what Rich's future with this team looks like in the off season, because I mean, maybe that's the only place that you can really have a clean break. But if they have another breakdown like this during the regular season where special teams fails you so much, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they have somebody internally that they can develop. It's gonna or promote, because it's going to be hard to find an external special teams person at this point in time, but you may have to make a decision that's tough. You don't want it to impact the locker room. You don't want guys to feel like, and if I'm having a tough couple week stretch, that I'm going to get canned or benched, and a move like that with Rich could send that message because he is so well respected. It's a very delicate thing at this point in time, but Matt LaFleur really needs to get through to that unit or to Rich or to whoever that this is costing the rest of the team games, and that effort needs to be better. To the personnel thing, I think the personnel on this team is fine. I think they got guys that can return. I think that if Rich Bisaccia was more adamant, and I don't know who's delivering those individual messages, but if they were doing a better job of coaching Golden, that, hey, listen to me, if you want this job, you need to be more secure in fielding these punts. Okay, I make decisions earlier. All right, Golden, you're not getting it. I'm just moving to my security blanket and Romeo Dobbs, and when I trust you again, you're going to be out there. The one exception to that is I do think that we are heading to a bad and ugly place with Luke Musgrave. He clearly is not a competent blocker, which is clearly affecting his ability to get on the field.
Then why is he on the blocking team, Jordan? Why is he on the blocking team?
I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's too much autonomy that Matt LaFleur has given Rich Bisaccia. It might be an injury thing. We are playing down 3 offensive linemen.
It's got to be that, because he is not a good blocker.
No, but it's tough. I mean, your analysis of that play, I believe you take the inside guy, was pretty spot on. But I don't know. The Packers do need to figure out this special team stuff before it costs them any more games. And this has been a problem for a while now. So defensively, right, my biggest thing in this game is that, obviously we gave up a lot of points. Every once in a while, you're going to run into a buzzsaw. You're going to run into a guy having a great game. Dak Prescott had an outstanding individual performance, and we talked about it in the pre-show that Dak Prescott's been having that kind of season so far. He's been an excellent quarterback, and he's clearly prepared himself to be one of the top passers in this league again. I mean, just looking at the stat sheet, I mean, he only missed 9 passes. He had 124.9 rating. And the Packers were trying to throw some different things at him, but they were not able to get home with that pass rush. You just had the 1 sack, technically, which a tackle for no gain is technically considered a sack. So, Parsons did finally make his impact on this game. My biggest problem is that this defense, for as good as they are, they were not able to get 1 stop in the second half or overtime. And if they're that good, at some point in time, you need to be able to just get that 1 stop. Clearly they couldn't stop us, but if they were able to get that 1 stop in the second half or overtime, we would have come out ahead in this game.
I mean, you want to know anybody who's going to be playing the Green Bay Packers defense coming up on our schedule, they're going to be putting on this tape of the Dallas Cowboys, because Brian Schottenheimer, really good coordinator for many years, finally got his head coaching spot there in Dallas. Man, he called an excellent game. 3-step, boom, the ball's out of his hands. Whatever the Packers decided to do and throw at him, they were 1 step ahead of it. And then when they were running the football between the gaps, they were getting some good chunks, 2, 3, 4 yards a clip. It wasn't a lot of juice. There definitely wasn't a lot of energy. The missed tackles too, like, it was just brutal. We could not get off the field on 3rd down. Like, it just was not happening. Like, Parsons for his big return, decent stats, 8 pressures, 1 sack, a 34.5% win rate. Good stats, but overall pretty quiet. He did have that 1 tackle, which could have saved, I probably think, a touchdown in overtime. Where's Rashawn Gary was invisible in this game. Lucas Van Ness had like 1 near strip sack, but overall I thought the Cowboys offense was way too good, and they were a step or 2 ahead of us. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into Nate Hobbs, but he was getting bullied. Man, he was absolutely terrible. 6 targets, 5 catches, 57 yards, and 2 TDs for 145.8 passer rating against him. brutal. And Carrington Valentine probably hit one of his worst games too since his rookie year. Overran that play with Pickens. Yeah, playing soft zone then to not playing as aggressive as I want. I get it too, like with what the Cowboys were trying to do at that instance. Um, just I don't know if it really would have mattered. I think they had an answer for everything that they were going to throw at him. The DeVontae Wyatt injury does not help, with him and his knee. Again, he just can't, he can't stay healthy. I'm hopeful that that injury isn't as good. And then real quick too, Nazir Stackhouse, man, he's an undrafted free agent, that's for sure, because he was getting cooked there quite heavily against that Cowboys offensive line. So I'm gonna pause there, see if there's anything you want to add on it.
I mean, you hit a lot of great points there. I mean, I did want to touch on the Wyatt injury before we ended this show, but he's got 2 weeks. Hopefully, he's not going to need a whole lot longer than that. I mean, I think that Devontae Wyatt is a really critical piece of this pass rush and this defense.
Yes.
And, missing him for a substantial period of time, we've got some guys, but if he had to miss 8 weeks or something like that, that would hurt this defense and this team an awful lot, I think. Yeah, I mean, you just hit on a lot of the guys who had tough games, right? I'm still waiting for some of the PFF data to come out so I can take a little bit closer look. Kind of digest that a little bit more, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to complain about the officiating, too much, but there were a couple calls in this game that clearly that were not called that I would say favored Dallas in the end too, intentional grounding call late in the game there that I think was pretty obvious when Javonte Williams was in as a blocker and not went out as a receiver. And then I think that there was pretty obvious pass interference against Dontavian Wicks on that deep route that he ran there.
Also, at 1,000%, and the no grounding call.
Mm-hmm.
How is, please, simplistically, explain to me how that's not grounding.
Right. I'm an official myself. I do a lot of refereeing. It's a very tough and thankless job. So not going to make that the excuse. The bottom line is if they would have shored up their special teams, we haven't talked about the young offensive linemen clearly, guys like Morgan and Kennard still struggling a little bit. I do think that they settled into the second half of the game better again. I think that if we continue to have replacement level offensive linemen, we continue to need to kind of give them one position to get adjusted to. I'm okay with Kennard getting reps out there at right tackle. I'm okay with Morgan being your backup guard. And when Belton's back, I'm okay kind of stabilizing things there. But let those guys get those reps. Let them try to get comfortable. Because moving them all around right now, I think while if you had a catastrophic injury or something that you could do that, you could let them get settled in. But different positions on the line every week is not helping those guys develop at this point in time. So I don't know. What else did I have for notes? I mean, overall, we did better with the penalties, but it's still an issue for this game. And then I guess the only other thing I really have is that, we talked about the difference in this game potentially being turnovers. The Cowboys got one and they won the turnover battle, and that made a difference in this game as well.
I wanted to just touch base real quick too on Matt LaFleur, like the clock management of it all. And let me know if you feel like you think that this is correct. But the end of the first half, a little bit too aggressive, right? Led to that Cowboys turnover, cost them 7 points. End of overtime, a little too conservative, nearly almost cost them the ability to tie. Do you think that there's any play in that too as well? I mean, there was some just odd decisions by Matt LaFleur. I mean, there was no urgency, getting the line and OT. It was just a lot of inconsistent decision making, which is a point of emphasis that we've had from Matt LaFleur, I think, so far in his tenure, right? Like, do you think that there's any play in that? Because, I mean, I get it, but like it cost him that turnover and 7 points right there, which would have won you the football game, at least in the first half.
I have to go back and kind of watch the sequence from the first half, but I do kind of put the overtime one a little bit more on the shoulders of Jordan Love. It's really hard to kind of communicate, understand. You've got no timeouts. It really is up to trusting your quarterback to make the right decision there. And I think that Jordan and that offensive unit really kind of didn't have the urgency that they needed. Jordan made a questionable decision. Luckily, he got that pass off quick enough where it didn't haunt them in a worse way and result in a loss. I mean, that would have been even more gut wrenching, but they've got a lot of work to do on this bye week. So, let's talk about plays of the game and game balls and get you out of here. So, Rob, you got a play of the game for you?
The Josh Jacobs run there in the fourth quarter, what was it, 11 minutes left? And I thought the real, first time I felt like this offensive line, including the tight ends, had a really good blocking effort on all the levels who was out there. Had a really nice run for Josh Jacobs. Haven't really seen that too much this year. So that's my play of the game.
Yeah. Mine was that Jordan Love pass on that second scoring drive to Josh Jacobs, where Jordan Love was taking off as a runner, made an excellent decision at the line of scrimmage to pitch that over. It was close to a lateral. I think it might have been a forward pass technically to Josh Jacobs. He makes a big gain, nearly gets in for a touchdown. But I mean, that's one of Jordan Love's, when you look back at a career highlight reel, I mean, that's going to make it on that 10-minute tape. And it was really, they talked about it on the broadcast, but it was really reminiscent of something that, Brett Favre or one of those old Packers greats, the type of play that they would have made. I'm gonna stick with that, and I'm gonna give my game ball to Jordan Love. I think that Jordan Love, maybe minus his questionable decision making at the end with the clock management, I thought that he had an outstanding game. Right, 337 yards, the 3 touchdowns, the 28 extra yards on the ground. He really kept the Packers in this game, and he felt like if he had the ball in his hand that he was going to go and put points on the board. So definitely not Jordan's fault that we didn't come out on top.
Yeah, my player of the game, no shocker here, but Romeo Dobbs. I mean, the security blanket and wide receiver 1 on this team. 6 catches, 58 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then when you needed a ball caught the most, it was Romeo Dobbs, man. Just electric, whether at the goal line or clutch third down or wherever it needs to be. He just always seems to come up really, really good for this football team. Mm-hmm. Romeo Dobbs it is for me.
I love that. I didn't need to double down on Romeo. You guys know how much I, enjoy him. I'm just really hoping. I don't know what the salary cap situation will look like next year, but Romeo is a big part of this team right now.
Yeah, think they might want to think long and hard about that one.
Yeah.
But I think that's all that we have for you today, Packers fans. Let us know what you think in the comments. Voice your frustrations, positives, negatives, anything in between. We'd love to hear and interact with you all. But we do have episodes every Monday, except for this next week with the bye week, Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Please make sure to share with a family member, a friend, or a fellow Packer friend who likes to nerd out just as much as we do. Yeah, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. YouTube, please make sure to like, sub, and follow us on those platforms. And we are on the socials as well. I'm at Sounds Good with 3 A's, and Jordan is at Olson Jord. But until next time, Packers Nation, we hope that you have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. Take care. Go Pack Go.
Been wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up.